Hello, guys, and welcome to episode 5 of Anything Goes with Sania and Leah. So, how is everyone doing? Specifically, everyone, Leah, how are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a busy week, but I'm off the mini cut now, so life is good. Food is back. I think I'm getting a bit ill, but apart from that, I'm okay. Yeah, all good really. Had a fun weekend, went out,
You went to
had some
Manchester.
drinks. Yeah, went to Manchester, which was really fun. Yeah, it's nice actually to go out because I haven't been out the whole time. I've been on this like mini cut thing. Obviously, I haven't been out for any food. Like I've just literally stuck to the plan. So it was nice to like go out and went for some drinks, went to the Ivy,
Oh, nice.
which is really nice. I love like getting dressed up and going out. I think it's really like nice. Like an off season when you can just be a bit more flexible.
Yeah,
Um,
100%.
yeah, it's like we were talking about last week, weren't we, when we said like I'll still eat my meals and stuff and I'll still train, but it's nice to like do other things as well.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah,
Especially
and then we went.
if you are within the industry, like, I'm assuming, were they in the industry?
No, they're just like friends from uni, so they go to the gym, but they don't do bodybuilding or anything.
Yeah, I find it so refreshing. Like, I'm gonna see my uni girls on Thursday, and
Yeah,
it's just nice to just talk about anything
yeah,
but training, anything but meals, anything
yeah,
but anything fitness. It's
yeah.
like
It
you,
is nice.
it's like although I live the lifestyle, it's nice to just not have anyone almost like talk to me about something bodybuilding or fitness or a
Or
coach,
work.
shit like that. It's like
Yeah,
actual goal chat.
yeah. It's really nice because like a lot of the time, obviously a lot of my friends are in bodybuilding or are online coaches. So it's
Mm.
really nice. Like when I go out with them, we literally talk about uni and like holidays and weddings and like normal girl stuff. So it's really nice. And then we went to this amazing bar. Basically, my friend like literally goes out a lot, as in like not drink. Well, she does got drinking, but
She's sociable.
yeah, she's very sociable. Like a lot of holidays, a lot of like meals out, a lot of friends. And she booked this really nice place. It was called Kitten. And it's like a Japanese cocktail bar, but the inside was like incredible, like really, like just so pretty. And like a nice, pretty like bar. I love
Yeah.
that.
I
So
am. I love a good Instagrammable place where I'm
yeah,
like,
it was
"Oh,
very
you
Instagrammable.
finally post a photo of me out."
Yeah, it was so nice. So, and not only that, but the food was amazing as well. It was like sushi, but then all the nice Japanese sides, like the edamame beans and like calamari, and oh, it was so good. So we went there, yeah, and then we went out for some
That's one
drinks. So
thing that annoys me about Reese is he is, even though he doesn't admit it, he is a fussy eater. Oh my God. He used to be vegetarian. So he
oh,
only,
really?
yeah, because his mum's vegetarian. He used to be a
Oh, no
vegetarian.
way.
And he just eats chicken. And his
Oh,
excuse
okay.
is like literally just chicken, rice, potato. Like anything else is like, nah, not trying that. But like, I'm not joking. But like, he'll be his excuse will be like, it's not that I am a fussy eater. It's just I don't want to eat something like that. Like I just don't want to. And it's like that's a fussy eater that you don't want to eat. He's like, I'm not a fussy eater because if I have to, I will, but I don't want to. And I was like, so you're a fussy eater, and he doesn't like fish. He doesn't like sushi. So any
Oh,
off-hand meal that we go for, like there has to be chicken on the menu. So
right.
if you go to like a proper Italian place,
Yeah,
like they don't have chicken on pizzas or like sometimes on pasta. So it's an
yeah,
absolute pain in the ass because if we go to a burger place, they have to have a chicken burger. Or if we
yeah.
go to like somewhere else, they have to have something else, just chicken. Or just
Oh,
like
God.
like I can't just go like for sushi, can't just go to like for me, like he's like, oh, where do you want to eat? I'm like, I will eat anywhere. I'll
Yeah.
always find something on the menu. But with him, so I'm always get jealous when people say they go out for sushi because I'm like, I've never gone out for sushi
Oh,
and I'd love
it's
to,
so
but
good. Oh, we need to go out for sushi one day.
maybe you're gonna be my sushi buddy then.
I love sushi.
I
Like, oh, it's just my favorite food ever. It's so nice.
It's
Um,
expensive, isn't it?
oh,
Like it's
it is expensive,
yeah,
especially if you go somewhere that's like a bit bougie as well. Like they just whack money on it.
yeah.
But yeah, that was like an amazing, a nice weekend. So that was fun. Nice to put a nice dress on and get dressed up, and yeah,
That's good. At least you had a good time. Like, it's always nice to kind of just take yourself out of the kind of consuming world of optimal bodybuilder
Yeah,
that we discussed about last week.
it is. But now my voice is all weird, and I feel like I sound like I've just smoked like a pack of fags over the weekend because I'm all croaky and weird.
But the thing is, though, I definitely think there's something going around because
Oh,
I had it like 2 weeks ago. Reese had it. Like, so many people have had it. I genuinely think it's just, like the change in weather at the moment. Like, it's going from warm to wet to freezing. So I think everyone's just kind of body is a bit like freaking out, and then there's something going around. So
oh God, I hope not. But yeah, that was fun. And also food's come up a bit more. So I did my check-in on Friday.
yeah.
And Dan basically just gave me free calories at the start. So rather than like adding food to the meals, he just kept all my meals the same and then added free calories. So he's added more free calories, which I love because I love like macro tracking and like cooking and stuff like that. So I've now got like 450 calories on a rest day and 350 on a training day, which is really good. So what I've been doing is like saving all my free calories, adding them to my evening meal, and then making like a really nice evening meal. Because I think it's so easy to have like a cereal bar there and like an extra bit of peanut butter there, and then you've got no calories left.
I agree. Evening meal, like I grew up in a family where we would all sit around the table and have the evening meal. And although I love breakfast, I have to have a dinner. I can't have cream of rice for dinner. Like, I just can't.
Yeah.
So like, if like what I'll always do, I'll have like my fourth meal as like rice and chicken, or like in my off season I have pasta or maybe spaghetti or whatever. But like, I have rice and chicken, and I make like a really, really like a really good like Filipino dish, which is called adobo, which is literally like soy sauce and lemon juice. So it's really, really, really like really, really friendly. But it's like, that's my dinner. And then like when I used to have the yogurt, that was like my dinner, even though it's meal 4 and meal 5.
That's what I do as well.
Dinner. I have to. I can't. I don't get people who can just have like cream of rice or like porridge at like 7 p.m. I'm like, what? Maybe
well, I could definitely do that, but I do love dinner as well.
well, no, I would have to have I could eat maybe porridge any day, like any time of the day. But if someone said to me, oh, it's dinner time, you never expect porridge. Come on.
Yeah, you do a dinner.
You do a dinner, don't you? And that's
I kind of want to try those. So I was talking to my friends when I went out actually at the weekend, and they do the gusto meals.
Oh yeah, like Hello Fresh and stuff.
Yeah, so now I'm like, because I normally have steak and potato wedges for my evening meal, which is like, depending on whether it's training day or rest day, it will be between like 350 and like 500 calories. So now I've got the extra calories. I've literally got like what 800 calories for an evening meal.
The thing
so now
is,
I'm like, oh, I might try some of those.
the portions are tiny.
I have seen that.
In comparison to, for maybe normies, quote unquote, it's normal, but for us, we go, what the hell is a starter?
Yeah, I have heard that actually. Or maybe I might just go on their Instagram, stalk some of the recipes, and then just make them myself, but make them bigger.
Yeah, I would, because the only reason why you would probably go HelloFresh or Gusto, and this is the reason why my auntie does it, is because sometimes she doesn't have time to go food shopping, and it's just easy because the food is already like portioned out for like 2 people. But and it's quick for her because she can just quickly throw it all in and stuff. But for you, like, it would be good to have the recipes, but you always go food shopping, you get your food delivered and all that, because she's never home. So I think I think the target audience is more based towards like office workers who come home and just need to chuck something and not have to weigh it out or do the ingredients.
Yeah, I get you. But maybe I'll use it for inspo. But can you imagine if I gave like Will like a portion of that? He'd be like, what is this?
Literally, he'd look at it and be like, where's the rest?
Well, they'd probably be happy at the minute because he keeps moaning every 2 seconds that he's full and he hates bodybuilding. He's like, I'm over it. I'm over the bodybuilding life. I can't wait to quit. That's what he's saying every day at the minute.
He's like dead in the trenches in off season, isn't he?
Yeah, he's like too far.
But off season is like, it's, man, people don't realize how tough it is.
I feel like I never get to that point because my appetite is like insatiable. But for a boy, I can imagine it's hard.
But I suppose so. To be fair, with me, I struggle to put weight on. So I have to push my food really high. But maybe like a lot of females don't struggle to put weight on. But for me, my mum's 4'10" and a really, really skinny Filipino. So for me, like I've got that genetic where it's very difficult for me to kind of like it's the same as dieting. Like it takes a very long time for my body to kind of like adjust and stuff. So when girls are like, yeah, like I've got massive appetite, I've never like felt like not hungry in an off season. I'm like, really? Cool.
What's your calories go up to in your off season? Do you know?
So I don't know my calories, but I know my macros. So in my first ever prep, so before my first ever prep, I was on 650 gram of carb.
Yeah.
I was on 165 gram of protein.
Yeah.
And I was on 60 gram of fat.
So you're on 3.8K.
Yeah, mate, I was projectile vomiting my food. That's why we started early.
I think I'm on like just over, I think I'm on about 2.6, 2.7 at the minute, and I'm still hungry on that.
Yeah, like you probably will be. But like in my last, like I'm probably on that now.
Yeah.
Because I have to work my food up so high. But I was looking at I don't think you did you do like a full day of eating or something? I don't know when you did it.
I did last week, yeah.
Yeah, I looked at it and I was like, I'm eating more than that. Obviously, you've just come out of a diet, but I was like, wow, I need to be way more appreciative with like the food that I've got.
Yeah.
But like, I finished it on 550 grams rather than 650. So I probably finished at 3,500 calories, which is
That's
really,
a lot of carbs.
I know. Tom loves keeping my protein the same. My protein's never budged, like never budged. And then we'll like bring the fats up slowly. But then with carbs, he's like, yeah, bring it up. We'll just
Whack
keep
them up.
He's like, we'll keep
God,
going.
I hope I get that much. Dreamy.
Honestly. But then like we'll see like 0.2 go up. And he's like, right, let's do another week. And then like 0.1 will go up. And he's like, right, more food.
Oh, I wish mine did that.
No, it's one of those. It's just one of those. But that's actually a topic we could talk about because a lot of people actually do ask me macros versus training plan, macros versus food plan.
Yeah.
What do you prefer and why?
I like a bit of a hybrid is an awkward answer.
Yeah.
Because I think if I had to track my food every single day, faff. And also I am quite happy to eat like the same breakfast through the week, the same lunch through the week. So I like what I've got now where it's like, I know my meals are set, but I've got like spare calories as such, because I just think if I was to track my food myself, I would probably do the same thing. I would basically plan my food for the week and just eat the same thing every day and then plan it for the next week. So I think it just makes life easier. Because I think if you're tracking as you go, you just end up being so all over with like your meal timings, and your food shop ends up being a faff, and you end up like either just being so inconsistent with your calories unless you are very, very on it with your tracking. So I think, you know, for most people, if they are going to track, I think tracking in advance of the week, you need to be doing that and repeating some of your meals just to get some sort of structure with your week.
Yeah, no, I'm very similar in the sense that, well, off season, I class myself as a macro tracker. But what I will personally do is because the reason why I started it is because Tom is completely not a foodie when he first wrote my food plan.
What was it?
I'm pretty sure he put like pineapple, dark chocolate, and tuna in one meal once, and I was like, I was like, I wish I could get the messages up, but I even remember saying to him like, how the hell can I make this into a meal? And I'm pretty sure his response was, I'm just fitting the macros. He was like, I don't care how you like if it fits into a meal, I'm just putting it in for your macros.
Right.
And he put peanut butter in like a chicken and rice dish, and I was like, well, what do I just eat the peanut butter on the spoon? I was just like, none of
that's such a bodybuilder thing.
Honestly, and I was like, Tom, I was like, is there any way that you can just like, because at this point I didn't know what macro planning was, and if anyone doesn't know, it's essentially you have your carbs, like the grams of carbs you have, the grams of fat you have, and the grams of protein you have, and then you have to kind of balance your meals out so that it reaches those goals. But I had no idea what macro planning was. And he was like, oh yeah, I'll just give you macros, and then what I want you to eat in each meal and when.
Right.
And I was like, perfect, because I can then do what I want and I'm not then restricted. But in my off season, what I'll do is I'll be on a macro plan, but I'll have basically 4 meals. So 4 of my meals are exactly the same. My first meal, my pre-workout, my post-workout, and then my last meal, like my last meal will be like the same. But then like my dinner, I will choose, I'll go to the shop in the morning or a couple of days before, and I'll decide what I want, whether that's steak and chips, whether that's spaghetti bolognese, whether that's I don't know, like sour cream rice and chicken. And if I find out that it's like more calories or more fat or more carb in the sauce or whatever, I'll just take away some fat from my day. So I prefer to do that, just because, like you said, I could not. First of all, I like having the foods that I have anyway, but I'll always like fancy something on the day, and I quite like that ability to go, right, well, I've actually got, you know, like 100 grams of carbs in my last meal. I can have rice, chicken, I can have rice, potato, I can have what I want. So why not have chips? And I'll fancy chips one day. But in my prep and any diet phase, I do not like to know how many calories on. I do not like to know what my macros are. So what I'll get Tom to do is I will write down my prep meal plan, like how I've had and how I want to eat it. So for example, I changed one of my meals to cream of rice because I knew that I would want to volume my food at some point. And then I will do that in my off season macro plan, and then Tom just takes away. So if someone asks me like how many calories you want, I'm like, I don't know, I just know what food I'm going to be eating before I train. Like, I just know that, and he'll just take it off, something like that.
Because, that's exactly what I do.
Because I find like knowing how, when people are like, I'm on like 1.2 calories, I'm like, why would you want to know that? Because in my head I'm thinking, I got 1.2k calories today. Wow.
That's, you know, actually that's what I'm going to do differently this prep, because I do exactly the same as you, where like I can't remember if we're having this conversation before the call or on the call, but I basically added the 3 calories to my evening meal. So I now have like 800 calories for an evening meal. So the rest of my meals stay the same, like breakfast, pre and post workout, lunch, pre-bed meal, and then I'll just change my evening meal based on what I fancy. But then I do the same in prep. I follow a meal plan, and that's that. Like there's no tracking, it's just a meal plan. And same in like a mini cut or whatever. But last time I did work out the calories, and I am not going to do that this time, because I felt like it got in my head when I was on, like I got down to, it was like 1100 calories at the end of my last prep. So it was low. And obviously I was very hungry, and I was also doing like an hour cardio. Like we had to push relatively hard. I know that's still not as low as some girls go, but like I was hungry, and I think it got in my head knowing, oh my God, I'm eating 1100 calories. This is horrendous.
Yeah, I never, even in my first prep, didn't know my calories. So when people ask me how many calories did you get down to? I'm like, I don't know. All I know is even on a rest day, had no carbs for like a couple of days, and that was that. That's the lowest. Can't tell you what, like I can't tell you how many calories, because even it's weird. Like I could work it out in my head. I could work it out in my head, because where I've been on a macro plan, I'm very good at knowing the back label of every single food that I eat. But it's like weird, like I just turn my head around and then just think, right, it's 60 grams of core, it is 2 blocks of dark chocolate, and it's 45 grams of whey, and that's all it is to me. There's no calories next to it. It's just, what am I eating? I got to eat it now, and it's the best way for me. I do think, I know Beth, she prefers a training plan because she hates having to think, because she actually, I don't think she'll mind me saying this, but she actually really struggled with eating, like previously. Like she went from being really, really, really big to being really, really, really skinny, and then bodybuilding kind of just like leveled her out. And she just says like she hates macro planning because it gives her too much freedom. And it's like, I can understand that, because it's like, you could think, for example, for me, right, I'm on 3,800 calories. Okay, I'm going to have a KFC, and that is that. I'm done. And I think she likes the freedom, but when she gets too much freedom, she's like, I don't like it, because it's almost like you can get out of control, and I feel like you do need to be structured and very like strong-willed and have a really good understanding of like what's trace carbs and what's trace protein, and like what do you count and what don't you count.
Yeah, and I also think, following on from that, because I found this in the past with clients actually, is it's so easily done when you're on like 2,500, 3,000 calories, whatever, quite a lot of food, to think, oh, I'll just like track my food as I go because I know I've got a lot of calories, like it's fine. And then you end up having a protein bar, protein cookie, a shake, like maybe a cake when you go out for your coffee. And before you know it, like your food diary is literally 90% low quality, basically shit food, and there's no like structure to your day, like there's no like nutrient dense foods in there. Your fruit and veg intake is basically non-existent. So I do think, and I'll say this to a lot of my clients that are going through building phases, like get your fundamental of your day sorted. Even if you've not tracked all your calories in, if you're on 2,500 calories, if you can get 2,000 calories of good quality food in, your fruit, your veg, your range of protein sources, you know, your high fiber carbs or whatever, at least you've got a structure. At least you know you're getting a good amount of food in, and then use those calories to have a bit of what you fancy. But I think it's super easy, and this is the trap I fell in before when I was like off seasoning, before I was with Dan, that I was just like tracking ad hoc, and I ended up just like with no structure, or like running out of calories for my pre and post workout. So I do think, in terms of like allowing appetite to settle and having a structure, I do think having some form of like structure, even if you just log your pre and your post workout, and that's like, you know, you have the same pre-workout, the same post workout, at least that's like sorted and it's structured for your week.
No, I agree. And like vice versa with what you've also just said, like you may be really busy during the day and then you've got 3,800 calories to fucking eat in the evening. And what's that? Like 650 grams of carbs. Your digestion then is fucked. You're then like weighing in heavier the following morning because you've eaten like 3,000 calories like before you go to bed. So like having the consistency, having the meal timings with like a macro plan is so important to keep the consistency. Because if you check in with your coach, and even if you eat like your meal, like, I don't know, 3 hours, like 3 hours later than usual, like your last meal, like that will affect your weight in the morning. And then like your coach will be going off of that weight, and then they'll depend on like what that is, when in reality, you've just left your food till really late, or you've eaten food really early, like that, all that kind of stuff. But that's a bit more advanced, but
yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. And I also think like, I do think macro tracking is really useful, especially for like people that aren't competing. I like, to be honest, I don't have clients that aren't competing that are on meal plans. Like all my clients that aren't competing go on macros, because I just think it just is a, you know, it's just a better approach for a lot of people. It works better, more flexibility. But I do think if you are tracking your food and you've got a goal, you need to be spending time then pre-planning and organizing your food chart, planning your meals, because the way macro tracking doesn't work is if you're just winging it for the whole week, because you end up just here, there and everywhere. And especially if you're busy, like you're super busy, like if I'm busy and I'm like, right, I've got half an hour to grab a meal in between two calls, I'm like, okay, that's my meal, that's that. I know it fits in my calories because it's on a meal plan. Whereas if you're doing that and you're tracking, you're going to get them, like, oh my God, what am I going to eat? How many calories have I got left? What can I have? Oh, I haven't cooked that. That's in the freezer still. And you just end up like in a mess, basically. So I think if you are macro tracking, you need to be planning your food. Otherwise, if you're not planning food and you find a faff, sorry, my dog's just farted. I was like, oh my God, that's Sue. She's sat on my knee, look, and she's just farted. Oh, sorry. That's actually gone right in my throat.
Oh, her arse is literally underneath your nose.
I know. Sorry. Anyway, okay, I'm all right now. As I was saying, I've lost my train of thought.
You were saying about planning your food.
Oh yeah, basically, if you're struggling to plan your food, either get your coach to write you a like part meal plan, or write yourself a meal plan at the start of every week. What I would advise for most people that are tracking is sit down on like a Friday night after you've done work and just plan your 3 main meals for the next week. You don't have to plan everything, but at least if you've got your breakfast, your lunch and your dinner sorted, you know you've got 3 square meals in. and you've got a bit to play with in the day, but at least your like fundamental meals are prepped and made and you know what you're having. So it's like a bit of a half and half. I think that works best for most people.
I also think like that's very a normal approach. Like when I was younger, like my dad would plan out what dinners we would have for the week, so he knew what to do for the weekly shop.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense. Like I feel like everyone who lives should plan their meals, because you've got to go food shopping.
Everyone alive.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think there's a time and a place for eating a meal plan, but then also eating a macro plan. And I don't think it's like I don't think one is better than the other. I generally think it's what works for you in whatever stage that you're at, personally.
I do also think as well with meal planning, I think if you have struggled with your relationship with food, or you're trying to work on your relationship with food, I do think having some sort of meal plan structure is helpful, but I think you need to have some flexibility now, because I think sometimes if your relationship with food is a bit rocky and then you're saying to yourself, I can only have these meals, I think sometimes it can worsen things a bit. So I think
a lot of people there's a lot of people that I know who have come from like eating disorders, who have then gone into bodybuilding and found that bodybuilding has helped them. But there has been other people who've on the complete different spectrum, where they've had an eating disorder, and then bodybuilding has actually made it worse.
Which you can understand, can't you? Because it increases like focus on everything.
Yeah, like it's for me, for me personally, I can't understand how going into bodybuilding can better your food relationship. The only way that I can understand it is because you have an understanding of the why you should be eating certain foods, the education on what benefits it has with eating certain things, and maybe having a bit more of a routine if you are someone who has to have a routine to not fall back into old ways, essentially. But I can 100% understand when people say that bodybuilding can make, I'm not saying it does, I'm just saying this is what I've heard, where it's like it made them worse, like it made it a lot harder for them, because it's all we do is eat and increase food or decrease food depending on what we're on. We eat 5 times a day. We have to eat to ensure to grow, or we have to not eat to get lean. So it is a very food focused sport, which I think most are, but it is more in the sense that it's very extreme in comparison to the others. So I'd love to learn more about it. It's one thing that I'm kind of like intrigued about, because there are a lot of people that tell you different things, and I'm like, I can understand either side. So this is why I think it's good that there's like macro planning and a meal plan, because it's like then you can kind of find what variable works best for you with the past. So for me, like I've always had a healthy relationship with food. Like it was hard for me to go actually onto a meal plan, because I didn't have that. Like I really struggled to like want to stick to the meal plan, because I was like, this is fucking boring. Like I used to eat what the hell I wanted for dinner. Like I used to just be able to say, yeah, what we have for dinner, cool, thanks, not even think about the portions. I in a way missed the days where I didn't have to weigh things out. And I was saying to Reese, actually, I was like, because we were talking about when we were younger, I was like, I cannot wait for the day where what's that thing that people were doing? Like, it's a trend again, you know, where it's like mindful eating, where like you eat kind of when you want, but you're good at what.
Like intuitive eating.
That's it. Like, I can't wait to be kind of keeping my weight sustainable when I'm older, and just eating kind of what I want when I want, but having the knowledge behind me so I kind of know what foods to eat and all that kind of stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like I can't wait for that day, because weighing the stuff out does take time, and it's just like, even though you may be on a macro plan, you're still kind of restricted, even in an off season. Like I know that sounds like different, but like I just can't wait, you know, and you just
I know
go home and just be like, oh, what's for dinner? Oh, thanks for the serving. Can I have more? Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't know why. I think it's because it's just how I like grew up. But
I was the same though.
Yeah.
I had family meals every night, like always like a different meal every night, home cooked, ate together. I'm excited for that, like with me and Will as well, because we obviously sorry, as you can
Started
tell,
again.
no, I think I'm just ill, slash the fart got mingled in with the illness then. Um, yeah, because obviously Will and you'll be the same. Like Will and I eat separately. We eat off meal plans. Like we don't have evening meals together. So it'll be really nice to get to the point where it's like, oh, I can make like what's a nice evening meal for both of us. And I do think with tracking, like for most people, especially people that are like getting into this or are still trying to make progress, I do think it's massively helpful because you can't really intuitive eat unless you've got the understanding of food, because someone that has no knowledge of nutrition cannot intuitively eat properly.
You don't even know what's in how much 45 grams of whey is in protein.
Yeah, but once you've tracked for years, like I could pretty much eyeball any food and be like, that's about X amount of calories, X amount of protein, X amount of carbs. I'm pretty confident that you could put any food in front of me and I could probably pretty accurately guess the calories in it.
I'm the
So
same.
because I've got that knowledge now, like I could intuitively eat pretty well and know that, right, I know that meal's roughly, the right sort of portion for me. I know it's got protein serving in. Like I know that that's got a good amount of fat in, or actually I didn't have many fats in that meal, so I need to have a portion of fats later. So I think, yeah, I do get what you mean, and I'm excited for that as well, to like have a bit more of a, chilled approach.
Just like
Yeah.
I love the fit. I'm not like wishing time away at all. Like I love what I'm doing and I love having the routine currently. But I just imagine, like your children coming in and saying like, "What's for dinner?" And I'm like cooking and like I wouldn't want my kids to be surrounded by. I say this all the time like, about my kids as if I'm going to have them soon, but like I wouldn't want them to be focused on weighing out their food. So for me, I'd feel like I can't wait to just like slam food on the plate and go eat it. And the same with me. Do you know what I mean? And just almost, I miss being naive and like, I can't wait to intuitively eat, but I do look back at the days and think, God, when I had no idea, I just didn't even think about food once because I never had like an issue with food. So for me, like I didn't even know what calories were, didn't even know what carbs were, I didn't know what like protein, I had no idea when I was younger. And I do kind of look back at the days where I'm like, I liked being kind of not the word's not naive, you know,
Unaware.
unaware, yeah, because you don't stress about it. And obviously, once you know, you then think, oh, like not even stressful, but you're like, oh, I actually know how much is in that meal and I know exactly what I'm eating. And I kind of look back and I'm like, I remember I used to eat a whole pack of sweets and I wouldn't even know the repercussions, or like my mum would cook like food in like this thick fat. I wouldn't even think twice about whether now I'd be like, mother.
No.
Don't do that. It's
Yeah,
just,
no,
I
I
think
get what
it's
you
just
mean.
back to the roots, isn't it? And it's just like it's exciting to like it's nice now to be in a routine because I wouldn't want it anywhere. Like right now in my life, I wouldn't want anything different. But then
Yeah.
I think later on in life, I'm excited to see where that leads.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think just to summarize, like the macro versus meal planning, it's so individual, isn't it? And like I have clients that do, like some of them do a hybrid, some of them intuitively, some of them track, some of them follow meal plans. It's like this, so it doesn't matter. It's like just finding what makes you the happiest. But one thing I would say, I think this is kind of going off on a tangent, but you know what we touched on about like if you struggle with your relationship food, you're probably better not sticking to a fixed meal plan. Is you also need to make sure you're not dieting, because if you're constantly trying to restrict what you're doing, you're probably going to find your relationship with food gets worse. And this is, I mean, we can talk through this on like another episode, but this is what I kind of went through, where I was just always trying to diet because I wasn't happy with how I looked because I was binge eating, and then it just made things worse and worse and worse. So I think the best thing you can do if you are if you are struggling with your relationship food is actually building your calories up and removing the restriction, because that's going to help your relationship with food in a positive way.
No, I would agree as well, because even though I had a very short sprout of it post show, like it was very concerning in the fact where I was like, I didn't like the way that I looked and I wasn't sticking to plan. I would restrict myself and then I would be so hungry that I'd eat loads of food, and I was in this like awful cycle for like a week or so. And it was so draining because you're constantly negative. And then when Tom pushed my food up, I like was feeling less hungry. I was like thinking less about food. Yes, I was getting slightly bigger, but he was like, look, just for a couple of months, try and accept it. He was like, we're gonna work your food up. And then once your body settles, he was like, we can then figure out the next steps. But you need to stop thinking about food every goddamn day, every goddamn second. So how we do that is we fill you up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's what we did. We kept eating and eating and eating. And then once I had a better relationship with food, and I felt like because he initially, I think it was like 4 weeks before I actually dieted, and he was like, right, it's time to diet soon. And I was like, no.
Don't make me do it.
Honestly, I had a panic. Like I listened to the voice note and I just burst into tears because I was like, I'm not ready. Like the thought of dieting, like my first of dieting, it was for the Egypt holiday. I was like, I couldn't. I was like, I can't. Like when he said to do it earlier, I was like, I'm not ready. I was like, if I do it, I will I just can't. Like I'm not ready to diet right now. Like I still think I just need time. Please just give me some time. And then he gave me time, and then when I was ready, it was the best thing that ever could have happened to me, because within the diet it was like very not easy, but I was like, oh wow, it's just food. Like I work the food up and I feel good now. Like I'm not thinking, God, when's my next meal? I'm starving. Oh, I haven't eaten for ages, and oh my God, I've ate so much in my off-plan meal. Like I feel bad because I actually had a dessert when Tom told me I couldn't have a dessert. I'm going to restrict myself, and now I'm starving again. I was just thinking, right, next meal is in 2-3 hours. Cool, sound, let's get on with the day. Boom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I agree.
It's mad. Like you do go through different, even though like, I would never class myself as someone who has had a bad relationship with food, there have definitely been moments with diet phases and off season where my relationship with food is probably bad. Like off season, didn't like the look of food, just didn't want to do it. Prep, post show, starving, all I could think about was food.
Yeah, it is. It's just something to be aware of if you are getting into competing bodybuilding, is that you need to be aware of the repercussions it can have on your relationship with food. And be aware that it's not a decision to be made lightly if you've had previous struggles with relationship with food.
100%. 100%. It's just like we've said in previous podcasts, go into bodybuilding because you have already got the routine, decent relationship with food because you've worked on that. You love training, you love nutrition, you have a good relationship with yourself, and you love the sport in its entirety. Don't go into bodybuilding because it's now a trend. You see it glamorous, you see the abs, you see all that. No. A lot of us are going into bodybuilding and are successful within bodybuilding because we actually enjoy the actual sport, which is training and the routine and the nutrition, not the show day. So it's just thinking about, are you actually ready to compete? And that's definitely a discussion that you should be open and honest with your coach. And hopefully your coach isn't someone who just wants to get loads of people on stage, and he will actually say, you're ready, you're not ready. Fingers crossed if you have a good coach. There's not many out there, unfortunately. But
also you can do bodybuilding without competing, right? You can build muscle, you can get stronger, you can build your food up, you can have really great training sessions and enjoy your training, and then you can go through the process of doing a little mini cut or a diet or maybe getting a bit leaner. Like you can do that without competing. Like there doesn't need to be such an extreme extent with it. And like a lot of the girls that I coach, like do train like bodybuilding style training. Like we'll work the food up, we'll run a reverse diet, we'll get them really strong, and then we'll do a bit of a mini cut for the holiday. Like a lot of them are doing bodybuilding without probably knowing that they're doing bodybuilding, but they just don't go to the extreme of getting on stage with it. Some of them might do photo shoots, but essentially the process of improving your body composition is the same as what you do in bodybuilding. You just don't take it to the extremes.
This is it. It's like falling in love with it before you like commit to it. It's like a relationship. You are in a relationship with someone for years and years and years and years, but they don't ask you to marry them as soon as you start together. Well,
it's good.
But yeah, this is it, right? It's a really good method. So you have to spend years or a long time with someone to actually think, am I in a good enough position?
Are they marriage material?
This is it. Should I be devoted to them? And it's the same with bodybuilding. You need to keep with that. It is a life-changing, you don't mean to sound dramatic, but it is a life-changing vision, because your whole life does change. Even though we are balanced individuals, as we mentioned in the last podcast, it is still a completely different lifestyle to the normal people.
Yeah, I agree. Divergent, we have a prep update? Because I've just realised at the start you were like, how are you doing? And then we like went on a tangent and we haven't had a prep update.
Yeah, sure. Wow. As I said, guys, well, I'm in a bit more of a better headspace to begin with, because obviously
that's good.
In the last video, like a lot of things were happening and like things with prep were a bit stressful, but I had a deload and a devolume, and I just needed that so much. Like we decided to do it. So we did 2 days completely off, but one of the days was already like a rest day. So it was like one extra rest day. Basically mean it was a leg day as well. So that's what we were trying to like get to recover, because where I have been doing cardio since the day of prep every single day, my legs were just battered, and then training legs 3 times a week. So we did that, and then we did 2 devolume sessions. So we have hardly hit legs this week, which is just really nice. They're still feeling sore, like still like, oh God, because I'm doing the stairs. So they're still not like, wow, like, oh my God, like nothing's wrong with me. But like they are a lot less fatigued, and I feel a lot less fatigued as well. Obviously we went to Somerset, so that was a really nice kind of like mental reset for me. Just because I just had a few things that I needed to kind of get away from, and just kind of enjoy not having 4G on walks, and enjoy like being with people that I love and stuff like that. So that was really, really nice. Weight is coming down, which is lovely. I feel like my body has now gone, cool, 5 weeks in.
We get it.
We get it. We're losing weight. I'm starting to see some like proper visual changes.
I saw it on your Instagram story this morning. I was like, oh, what have lines?
I know, in good lighting though. Let's just make that aware. Like it is good lighting. Like in some lighting, I look skinny, like not even like I ever have trained in my life. Like some lighting, I'm like I did a posing video at Ultimate Fitness upstairs, and I was like, ugh. I was like, ugh, this lighting is not forgiving. But the one in Future, I looked,
I saw that,
diced and diced, and I was like, oh my God. I was like, I actually look relatively lean. So yeah, it is about, I'm at that stage where it's like, it depends on the lighting that will determine if I'm lean or not. But I feel like in the next 2-3 weeks, there will be more like just general visible lines. But I am getting abs. My face hasn't come in too much more, which I'm happy about, but I'm waiting for it.
Skelly face pending.
So yeah, like that's it really. My cardio has actually gone down, but my weight has still gone down.
Oh, that's good.
Basically, I said to Tom, I was like, cardio's gone down. Why has cardio gone down? I had a massive freak about it, because I was like, I'm only 5 weeks in. Why has it gone down? I was like, I'm expecting it to go up. But we were on 40 minutes per day, but now he's changed it to 30, because he was like, Sania, like we don't want to piss away your legs. He was like, we've got to control fatigue, and like there are other variables that we can do. He was like, we'll just see how it is. We changed a few other variables within prep, and yeah, like it seems my body seems to be responding now, which is very, very exciting. So there's a massive I didn't realize there's a massive difference between 30 minutes and 40 minutes of cardio. Like 30 minutes is fucking easy. 40 minutes, just an extra 10 minutes, just an extra 3 songs is hard. Like I didn't realize, I forgot how the difference, like even though it's 10 minutes, but it is a massive difference.
You know what I think in my head as well, because I feel like when you're on prep, you have to like really break things down to make it achievable. And like for me on prep, the Stairmaster stops, doesn't it, after 20 minutes? Mine does anyway. So I do 30 minutes cardio as well at the minute. I'm only doing one session, but still. But you do your first 20 minutes and then it stops. So I like have a little 1 minute rest, have a drink, like try and catch my breath back a tiny bit, and then be like, right, 10 minutes, brilliant. Off I go on my 10 minutes, nice and easy. But on prep, because mine was on 40 minutes, I like stop and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so dead. And I've got to do all of that again. And it feels like so much more, even though it's only like 10 minutes less, because I'm like, I've got to wait for the stairs to stop again.
Yeah, you know what though? So you can actually, depending on what Stairmaster you have, you can change the time on it. Because
No, but I like
it was doing the same to me. And I was getting annoyed by it because I like to just stop and I'm like, oh my God, it's done.
It's not done.
Rather than doing like what you did, and it's like then you think that, because even though like I have it on my watch, I try not to look at my watch, because it's like I don't even want to know. I don't want to know if I have 1 minute or if I have 10 minutes, because I will start counting down the minutes. Even if I'm not finding it hard, I'll just go because I know I've got shit to do. I'm like, I want to be doing the shit that I've got to do than doing cardio.
Yeah.
So,
No, I get it. Yeah.
but yeah, that is it really. Like nothing's really changed. Checking in tomorrow. I'm going to assume there's going to. He said he was actually going to decrease my food Friday, but he didn't. So I'm thinking he's going to do that this week, but well tomorrow. But it's like he says it, but he's like, well, why change it when the rate of loss is what we want? So it's like keeping. A lot of people think like you just have to keep food going down, but that's not how it is in like any diet phase or a prep. Like you don't want like weight to just fucking plummet, specifically in a prep, because it needs to be consistent. That's why it's such a long period of time.
And also you want to retain your muscle as well. So
this is it. And this is what I forget sometimes, because I'm like, I just need to think about the weight, and if the weight's not going down, then I need to eat less food. But then Tom clearly knows my body way better than I do, and I just need to trust him a lot more.
And also, Dan always says, like, it's bodybuilding. It's not a dieting contest. Like, it's bodybuilding. You need to look good as well.
Yeah. This is what I tell all my clients. Do you remember when we were saying in the last podcast? We give the advice out, but we get about it ourselves. I'm like that all the time. Genuinely do that all the time. Now I'm back into a prep. I'm like, yeah, I really need to start recording myself and actually take my
own it back.
But yeah, that is it. That is it.
Oh, exciting. So we'll see what next week brings then.
I'll probably be on another probably be upset again because my weight has probably maintained again, or something will happen. I know it will. This happy, jolly Sania won't be here for long, I'm sure.
We'll see. Hopefully it's all positive news. Hopefully I'll have more food.
Yes, and I'll be like, what did you have for your dinner last night? And what I do is I smell my friends are like, do you want to smell my food? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Because like last prep they were with me at uni, and like you got to a point where like I'd be looking at the meat and they're like, do you want to just smell? Do you want to just like smell it? Let's see what it smells like. And then like I actually like enjoy. I know it sounds weird, but like I'm actually happy for my friends that they're eating it, but I just want to know what it smells like so I can kind of understand what they're eating. Does that make sense? That's probably really weird. And they're always like, it's probably really weird, but they're always like they'll bring like food into like uni, and they're like, oh, here you go, Snia, like you can not like weirdly go like that. You're just like, oh, that smells really nice. I bet you that tastes really nice, and then they'll just let me smell it. It really is, because usually they'll go, oh, do you want a bit? But instead they're like, oh, you can smell it. That's so fucking weird.
Brilliant. And with that, we'll see you next week. What should I have for dinner tonight?
Chili con carne. Oh my God, I love chili con carne.
Actually, yeah, that's a good shout. Actually, you know what? I might have because I was gonna have steak and potato wedges, but obviously I've got my extra calories to add on. I might have spaghetti bolognese and just basically swap my steak for beef mince and have like that dolmio sauce. Well, actually, yeah, because I like it when you can put the beans in the chili con carne. I feel like that's really nice.
Chili con carne is like, if I was going to say spaghetti or chili con carne, actually, no, sorry, they're very similar, but like, I'd probably go chili con carne.
I might go chili con carne. Get some rice.
Post a video, a photo of it, sorry, when you do that.
I'll see
guys. That is episode 5. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed our talk about meal plan versus training plan, and then also about like kind of our recommendations on what you should potentially do before starting bodybuilding and stuff like that. But yeah, hopefully you have enjoyed it. Please like. Please share us if you are watching or listening to the podcast.
And make sure I'm smiling because people keep print screening me when I like look like I'm gonna kill someone.
Yes, they do. But then
I'm like this.
you're like, Sania, shut up. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll speak to you soon.
Bye.